So in this video, I thought we'd walk through an entire history from filing a patent all the way through getting an approved patent. So this is one that we worked on a few years ago. It was approved and granted in 2021, and it has to do with a pill counting machine. So just to give you an example of kind of what this looks like in action, this is an example of the machine. You can see it has all these different channels here, and then it counts the pills as they're dropped into this chute. Now, if you look at this patent number 10,968,001, you can go to the U.S. Patent Office website and change this to patent number and search for that actual patent. And then when you're here, you can go on Documents and Transactions, and this will show you the history all the way back from when we first filed this, August of 2018, all the way up to the most recent, which is when it was issued in 2021. So as you can see, there's a lot of history here. When you file a patent application, it doesn't usually get approved right away. There's usually some sort of rejection from the patent office. And so if I come all the way up to here, I can see in July of 2020, we got what's called a non-final rejection. So if I click on the preview button, that'll pull up the non-final rejection from the patent examiner. And in this case, this is what's called a 102 rejection, meaning the patent examiner found something. In this case, let's see what it was. Chan, so this must have been an older patent document from 2015, discloses what the examiner says is the same counting device that we were trying to claim. So if this is the first time you've gone through the patent process, you might be scared, upset when you see that the examiner has rejected our patent, but this is very common. It happens probably in about 95% of all patent cases, in which case we have the opportunity to go back and submit a reply. So in our case, we submitted our response in September, where it says applicant arguments. And if I click on that, what we do is we then go in, well, first in this case, we had an interview with the examiner, which means you can do a telephone interview, you can do a video interview, or you can actually go to the patent office and meet with the patent examiner in person. We discussed this case. We then followed up with our response, basically pointing out how our device is different than this Chan patent. Basically, we're saying that the Chan didn't have a hybrid staging channel, which our unit has. And so our device is different, and therefore it should be approved as a patent. Let's see what the examiner thought about that. In this case, the examiner did not agree with us, and so they issued what's called a final rejection. Now the thing is, final doesn't really mean final. It just means if you want to keep the process going, you have to pay a fee called a continued examination fee. So here we filed a request for continued examination, paid the fee, it opens the case back up again, and the examiner reviewed the case for the third time. So here the examiner reviewed it, gave us another non-final rejection. Let's see what this one said. So now we removed that 102 rejection. If you remember before we had a 102 rejection, now we've moved on to what's called a 103 rejection, meaning the examiner must have agreed with us. The examiner couldn't find everything in that single Chan reference, so the examiner is now combining references, in this case Chan, which we've already seen, and a new patent to someone named Strange. And the examiner is saying if you combine the Strange and Chan together, we can find all of the things that you are trying to claim is new in your system. So then we followed up after that examiner's comments, and we basically had another telephone interview with the examiner. We talked about it, and we basically said, no, the examiner was not correct, put in some legal arguments on why it was not correct. And then a few months later, we got the issue notification, which means, well, first we got a notice of allowance, and then we got the issue notification, and the examiner ultimately approved our patent. That's just a typical example of the back and forth process over many years with the patent.